Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Last Call Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host, Paul Clement, here on, I believe it's July 27th, if I'm not mistaken.
That's the date. Yep.
Yeah, getting towards the end of July here. Training camp has already started for some teams. All the other teams are going to be reporting this coming week as well. So we are fully into the ramp up of the NFL season. And I'm very happy to be back with my co-host Bobby Briscoe. Bobby, how we doing tonight?
Doing great. Good to be here. Good to be back. Been on summer vacation here, as teachers do at this time of year. So, yeah, been living the life, been living the dream. But happy to settle in and talk about some football tonight. So,
Amen, brother. And we have to apologize to everyone that's listening to this about our non-announced kind of sabbatical. It was a good time for us to take a sabbatical, I think. Not a lot going on in the NFL these days, and we had a bachelor party to recover from. We had golf, an early morning round of golf, plus a lot of travel the following Monday
mhm.
to recover from. So we wanted to come back to this refreshed, excited, and we're going to get into the meat of our rankings now. The wide receivers, the running backs, but tonight we're focusing on running backs, I should say, and
Mhm.
going into our top 12. And this is going to be a fun debate because I'm looking at my rankings, I'm looking at Bobby's rankings, and there's a couple disagreements. So it should be a
Mhm.
fun debate. Of course, some latest news, and we're going to get all into that right now. But before we do, I have to say, let's get it cracking on a Monday night. Cheers, everybody. Okay, so as mentioned, a couple quick notes on the news side of things. And before I do that, thank you, Bobby, for the visual reminder. Um, we need to talk about what we're sipping on tonight. What are we doing on your side, Bobby?
I'm keeping it classic. I'm keeping it simple today. I had a couple craft beers in the fridge, but I decided to just grab an old steam whistle here. Great Pilsner from Toronto. Very easy drinking beer. I can usually crush a couple of these without thinking about it too much because they go down real good. So
Yeah,
just keeping it simple tonight.
do one thing really well, as they say.
Yeah,
And I'm
exactly.
just I'm just on my Sapporo, so nothing too exciting. Uh, obviously was out. So a couple things to touch on before we even get into all the news. Like, did you watch any of the flag football championships this weekend? The NFL Network was putting on.
No, I didn't. I
Okay.
didn't have a lot of couch time this weekend. I was kind of around and doing stuff. So no, I did not get a chance to take any of that in.
Yeah, all good. Like, it was the closest semblance of football that I've been able to like watch in the recent like months. So I was just like, my brothers
You,
and
you,
I.
ha- you haven't been like big into the CFL season?
It's so funny. I so desperately want to watch the CFL, but then when I sit down and I sit there and I watch it, it's unfortunately a lesser game, and I disagree with a lot of the rules that they have around the sport as well. So I can't sit there and watch a full game. And then when I try to sit there and watch the highlights, a lot of it is just bad quarterback play, throwing interceptions to the defense. I'm like, what?
It's because the talent's lesser. Yeah, yeah.
I don't really care for it all that much. I should as a
Mhm.
CFL rules high school football coach. I should,
Yeah.
and it's so tough to get into.
I feel the same way. Like we both coach high school football. We play with the Canadian rules, and yeah, just can't
it's
can't really.
it's
When I'm at a game, when I go to a Red Blacks game, it's a great time.
yeah,
But yeah, just to watch it on TV, I never do it.
yeah. I find it tough, and there might be some viewers that disagree with that, and maybe they appreciate it more, and I don't know. Anyway, no. So watching the flag football, like these high school kids going out there and balling out was really impressive. Apparently, they all play tackle as well, so kudos to them. But like it was fun to watch. Like some of these kids out there making some big time plays was really fun to watch. And then um, obviously we're getting into training camp as well. So teams reporting, you're getting these leaked videos of some of these players, and it's starting to starting to all become real, and like what we believe,
Yeah.
what shouldn't we believe. That's going to be a big discussion point over the next month. So lots of fun to get into that. Um, so news, news. This is actually older news. I think I typed this up about a week or two ago, but Alvin Kamara actually gets restructured by the Saints, which I think is a bit of a kind of a balloon pop for Travis Etienne, HN, whatever you want to call him. I think I was really high on him going to the Saints and being a part of this high-powered offense, and then for Alvin Kamara to still maintain a spot on this roster, it feels like he's going to have a role. He's going to have a role in the passing game, and
Hmm.
I feel like that limits Travis Etienne, Travis HN's ceiling.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely does a little bit. I mean, this is not atypical though, right? How many backfields are committee backfields? And it's not something that is abnormal for Travis HN being in that scenario, right? So the other thing too, Kamara is what 31, so his production is not going to be what it has been in the past, presumably either. That's part of why they're restructuring him, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, maybe tempers you a little bit on Travis HN, but I don't know that it knocks him down too much.
I wonder if this kind of speaks poorly on the younger running backs they have in that team as well. The Devin Neals, the
Hmm.
Kendre Millers. I don't even know if he's on the team still. Um, the what's his name? Audric Estime. Like all those guys, they seem to have not been able to grasp a foothold in terms of being on the roster and being a part of that depth chart. So
Hmm.
hey, restructure Alvin Kamara, kick the can a little bit further down the road,
Yep.
and keep him on the roster. Yeah. Um, Next piece. This is actually the more recent one. I just saw this today. Daniel Jones being cleared for training camp activities, I
Hmm.
think is pretty big news. This gives him a good track to be on pace to be starting for week one, which is pretty miraculous in my eyes in terms of an Achilles tear, uh, coming back from that and then being ready to insert himself back into this offense, ready for week one
Hmm.
potentially. This
Hmm.
this is good news, I guess, for the Indianapolis Colts, and this is probably
Yeah, for
why
sure.
they felt confident paying him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, good news as well for, well, we'll be talking about him today, surely. Jonathan Taylor and other pieces, Pierce Downs. Having Jones be healthy, we saw what the production was when he was there, and then how much that dipped for everybody around him as well when he went down, the whole team included. So yeah, if he is back and healthy, then that's great news. I am still a little bit tempered in my expectations. I am anticipating it's going to take him a little while to get up to speed. These kinds of injuries, even if you are healthy and playing, you're probably not back to what you were before the injury for
Yeah,
a while. So it might take a while for him to really ramp up, but I mean, sooner he's back, the sooner you are ramped up, right? So.
yeah. I if I'm not mistaken, it's his plant foot when he's throwing, which is the same injury that Kirk Cousins had, which we saw. Kirk Cousins was older than Daniel Jones, of course, but the ability to plant off that back foot and drive the football was clearly diminished for Kirk Cousins at his age. Like I said, Daniel Jones is younger. However, to your point, Bobby, I don't think we can just say, "Oh, he's 100% going into the year," even if he's cleared to play week one. There is a ramp, like like physiologically as humans, we have to like get our brains and
Mhm.
bodies like
Mhm.
reintegrated together in order to be able to actually perform the act of a contact
Mhm.
sport such as football.
I was talking with a friend of mine at softball yesterday about this. Actually, I've had a bad back for a while, and I tweaked it a few weeks ago, and I've been going to physio and getting over it. And we were commiserating about back injuries. But there's a psychological aspect to these sorts of things too, right? Because like my back technically right now is better, but there are certain ways that like maybe I go to just bend over and pick something up, and I don't do it the normal way still. I do it in the, oh, better be careful of my back way, right? The instinct is just that, oh, if I do that, it will hurt, right? Because it's hurt for so long. it takes you a while to break out of that habit of, if I do this motion, it's going to be painful.
Yeah. I've
That's something that takes some adjustment.
I've had a knee injury, an ankle injury, and then a lower back injury all on my right side, and the compensation hasn't finished 15 years after all these injuries have happened back in high school and beyond. It's
Yeah.
it takes time, and it takes the actual work of putting in to strengthen everything back up to where it needs to be, so everything's not compensating for the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Patrick Mahomes being cleared for camp as well, so
Mm-hmm.
I've seen videos of him. He's wearing the knee brace. He looks pretty good. I've seen veteran quarterbacks analyzing his tape from these couple dropbacks and saying, "Hey, he's looking good, pushing off that leg, getting into his drop." Um, I think it's good news for the Chiefs that he's on this fast track, and that he's able to participate, but they don't have to rush him at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. Like, uh, it sounds like he's done a pretty good job of rushing himself. They don't have to put him in, they don't have to like get him into these full contact drills or anything at any time, which they wouldn't be doing anyway in training camp to begin with. But it does seem like he will likely be ready for week one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, However, that extra support on the knee, I think he's aware of it. I think the team's aware of it. There's going to be some coaching in that building that says, hey, we don't need you to put on the cape and do what you were doing last year in terms of like just trying to like Patrick Mahomes was the rushing attack last year, and
Yeah.
that's where that's like his fantasy stock went so high last year before he got hurt because he was actually doing what he usually does and saves for the playoffs, which is okay, nothing's there, none of my guys could beat man coverage, I'm going to go rush. And it's I think it's good that he's healthy and I think that he's on a good track. Anything to add here, Bobby? Like I just
I think you've covered it. Yeah. I mean, and again, I don't think, he's getting older and this team is also getting older. I don't know that you can expect, even if he is 100% healthy, for his fantasy production to be to where it was, right? As you said, he was the rushing attack. I don't know that they want that, right? I don't think that's a sustainable thing for him or for the team where it's at now too. So yeah, temper expectations with him, but good signs to see him back and looking healthy. So
Yeah, NFL loves it, and that's why they booked them for the first Monday
mhm.
night game. So
Yeah, yeah. Even though they're probably not going to be that good this year, they'll get the Chiefs out there, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
NFL, they know what they're doing, and
yeah.
they probably have the inside track better than even we do. So
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, hopefully that's good. I mean, we want more fantasy viable players, the better. So that's
Hmm.
good. The last piece of news here: Malik Neighbors avoids the training camp pup, which is, of course, good news. Could put him in track to be ready for week one. And I think, I mean, this is almost not even worth bringing up as a news item because it's still so, it's still so, what's the word I'm looking for?
Up in
Volatile.
the air still.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, volatile. Yeah.
Yeah, like this is the roller coaster. Like he was
Hmm.
a, he was a back end of the first, beginning of the second round pick in Dynasty startups a couple months ago. All this news about this cleanup surgery, his extended timeline, all that has basically driven him down to like the fourth, the fifth, the sixth round of some of these redraft leagues. And now we get this piece of news, and it's like anyone who had the foresight to draft this guy in that nice sweet spot is going to feel like pretty good about themselves
Hmm.
come the season. If he is
Yeah.
ready for week one, even if he's not 100%, you got to feel pretty good. But by the end of the season,
Hmm.
he's going to be in a good shape to
Yeah.
be a league winner. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but I tried to make some offers to the guy in our league who had Malik Neighbors to see if I could buy the dip a little bit, and
Hmm.
they held strong to their credit. So,
Yeah. As they
um,
should. In a dynasty context, as you should. If I'm in a redraft league, I am still a little bit cautious on him. I look at him as a great wide receiver for, like, if you went running back heavy in your first couple of rounds and you're looking to get some good value in, those kind of, later round wide receivers, he's a name to try and jump all over in the, fourth or fifth round if he's still there, right? I wouldn't reach on him, but if he falls to you, that's the kind of pick that, let's say you go 1-2 running back and you're looking for a good option at wide receiver, well, he could maybe be that guy who you can get a little bit later and perform, like a number one for you later in the season, right? And then you just hope to survive and get to that point, right?
And it plays well the other way too. Like if you go receiver, receiver, tight end, or quarterback in those first 3 rounds, and he's your third receiver, I feel like that's where you're really starting to see.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you can go to the moon, because if he comes back healthy and strong, and he's your third receiver that you've picked in the first 4 rounds, I think that's where you really see like to the
Mm-hmm.
moon potential. But I agree, like if he's your first receiver taken after running back, quarterback, or tight end, or wow, he's your second
Something
receiver,
along those lines, yeah.
it's hard to miss at this point, because if he, I had, there was no news, there was no reports coming out that this was the case, but I kind of had it in my head like I don't know if this guy's taking his like rehabilitation on his knee all that seriously, like a lot of the off season. But then for him to come back after this cleanup surgery and be ready for training camp, or at least some activities at training camp, that tells me that he has since kind of put in the work and like is comfortable
Mm-hmm.
enough to be able to start doing some activities with the team. So
Yeah,
I feel like that's a good sign for him. The league is better with Malik Neighbors healthy and playing, so hopefully he is up to full speed sooner rather than later.
absolutely.
Um, Anything to add there, Bobby?
Well said.
Okay, very good. We're going to take a quick break, everybody, and we'll get into our top 12 running back rankings. Hang tight. Okay, everybody, we are back, and we are going to go from 1 down to 12. Our favorite running backs from a both a redraft dynasty perspective, like kind of a blend of like how we feel about these players, both this year plus long term is kind of the way that I went about it. And I kind of put my tiers together. Bobby, we can kind of work through the players, and you can agree, disagree, and this will be just a great back and forth in terms of where we think guys belong through this top 12, because I think that there are categories of these running backs that I guess the best way to put it is I think that these 12 running backs you would feel good about having as your RB1. And the fact that there are 12 guys to begin with, I think is a good sign for the league and for fantasy. So, um, let's just get right into it. Um, no disagreement between you and I in our top tier,
Yep.
the blue chip boys. We've got Bijan Robinson as our RB1, Jameer Gibbs as our RB2, and again, I think the fact that we are both high school coaches kind of blurs the line of like I've seen Jameer Gibbs be the running back one in a lot of fantasy analysts' eyes, but you and I think we understand the value of this, the makeup of the player, the fact that he is a 3 down workhorse back, the fact that he is probably a good 20 pounds heavier than Jameer Gibbs, uh, the elusiveness, like the sheer like the football talent of the player, I
Yeah.
believe is better than Jameer Gibbs. Not to take away from Jameer Gibbs at all. Like Jameer Gibbs has things that Bijan doesn't have. I think he has that extra gear. He has the pass catching opportunity. I think Bijan
Mm-hmm.
Robinson also has pass catching chops, but Jameer Gibbs has the pass catching opportunity in that offense. So we'll have to see how this all shakes out. And I think, uh, dare I say, we are both being a bit uh, daring, putting Bijan Robinson as the number one, with that quarterback situation being what it is
Yeah.
in Atlanta.
I mean, I think they're clearly a 1-2, and yeah, I mean, you've kind of hit the nail on the head with Gibbs. Like, there's a lot to love there, and if Gibbs ends up being the number one running back this year, I'm not going to be surprised by any means, of course. Um, I think the one thing I'm going to say, and I'll say it actually more so about Bijan, but a little bit about Gibbs too, is I'm not as super excited about these guys this year as I have been about some of past years, number one overall picks if they're running backs. Especially with Bijan and just being a Falcon. I'm not huge on the team. I don't know that they're going to have the best year. And that's something that can be a little bit of a knock on the player. So, if I'm staring down the barrel of a 1-1, I don't think I'm taking either of these players with my first overall pick. I think I'm going to lean wide receiver and go for a Jamar Chase. So that's the slight knock. But having said that, again, we're picking straws and we're looking for fine tooth things to look at here. Yeah, two excellent running backs, a lot of potential. Again, would not be surprised with either of these guys being running back number one by the end of the year either.
Yeah, and I mean the one counterpoint I guess I would say to your taking maybe a wide receiver over these guys is their competition in each of their backfields actually got worse. Like
Mm-hmm.
Bijan Robinson lost Tyler Algier, Jameer Gibbs lost David Montgomery, so both
Mm-hmm.
teams are just full steam ahead with these players.
Yeah. Now, see, I there's two ways of looking at that. One is yes, the competition's going down. They're going to get more looks and more touches, but they're also going to maybe be put in a position where they're going to be burnt through a little bit more as well, right? Yeah, and it can kind of go both ways, right? So we'll see what happens with them, but yeah, I'm just a little bit not sold on the teams themselves. I think that's the big question mark I have with both of these players. Again, more so with Bijan than Gibbs. I don't mind the Lions, but
Yeah, you know what? Maybe I thought we were just going to burn through Bijan and Jameer Gibbs and move on to the next tier, but I think this is good debate because
yeah.
I think Bijan Robinson, if Tua is the starter, we just
Mhm.
saw the kind of passing production that went to Devon Achane,
Yep.
in all likelihood, a lesser back than Bijan
Mhm.
Robinson. And with Bijan Robinson's passing chops, he could very easily see 100 targets with 80 receptions in this offense, and maybe he's less efficient in the rushing attack, but if he's just getting that volume, it's going to be
Yeah,
insane.
that's true. Of course, Tua was passing to Ashan in a Mike McDaniel's offense as well, right? Mike McDaniel's ain't there.
Touche.
So yeah, who knows what it's going to look like in
Yeah.
that scenario, right?
And then
Um,
with Jameer Gibbs, the offensive line I think deteriorated quite rapidly last year. I think that they invested in the offensive line this year. They're upgrading one of their guards. They drafted that tackle. I think that they're trying to maintain that mindset that they've had these past couple seasons. So I still feel very good about Jameer Gibbs. He's going to see at least
mhm.
6 targets a game. He'll catch 5 of them. One of those could go for 60. Like that's
Yeah.
where that's these are the kind of players we're talking about here.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And I think these players should go, in whatever, whether it be dynasty or redraft, yeah, you should be taking them probably within the first five, maybe even first four picks.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I traded up from 5 to no. I was at 7. I moved up to 4 to make sure I was in this tier of Jamar Chase, Puka, Bijan, and Gibbs. I was
Mhm.
very happy to take Gibbs. So good.
Absolutely. All right.
Probably more time than we should have spent on.
Well, I think actually, you know what? I will just briefly mention. I think it is really worth considering these things because, you know, at the end of the day, when you're doing a draft, right? It's those first few picks that are really going to determine where you're at the end of everything. If you hit on those first round picks or don't, if you miss with your first round pick, you're screwed, right? Whereas at the end of the draft, it's great to have the knowledge and to be throwing darts, successfully in those later rounds. But at the end of the day, you're throwing darts with late round picks, right? And who really knows where those will fall? That kind of thing you can make up with by being a knowledgeable person, being active on the waiver wire in the first few weeks, those sorts of things, right? So I think it is good conversation to really think about these first picks a little bit.
Yeah, getting into the weeds is always important. So the one thing I forgot to mention off the top was tonight. we had our 33 pool draft. So for those that don't know, a 33 pool is effectively 32 people put X amount of money into a pool. Everybody draws a team, and that's your team for the season. If your team scores 33 points, then you win X amount of money. And it was exciting tonight. We got like funny enough, we got the Detroit Lions, so I feel very good about that as a high scoring team.
They're a high scoring team. Yeah, it's a good one to have in a pool like that for sure.
And I forgot where I was going with that point, but there was something. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, so
Next tier running backs,
yes,
or
so
next couple.
Bijan Robinson, Jameer Gibbs, blue chippers. The next tier, Bobby, you and I have different tiers here. So
Yeah.
I have my next tier of, I guess I would call them the proven veteran players with upside. Veteran players with upside is
Mhm.
kind of how I put them. And that's number 3 is Jonathan Taylor. Number 4 is Christian McCaffrey. Number 5 is James Cook. And number 6 is Chase Brown.
Okay.
And that's the next tier of guys that I have. I know some of these guys are going later than other guys in the next tier for me, but I feel like this is a nice little bucket of they're not young, they're not old, they are proven, they've all shown their upside. Can they keep that upside going? And they also have that high floor. And once again,
Mhm.
Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, James Cook, Chase Brown. That's 3 through 6. I'm going to kick it over to you, and you tell me why I'm wrong, and you have other tiers going on here.
So I have CMC and Jonathan Taylor in their own kind of next little mini tier. And I put them in their own little mini tier because I think both of these guys, they're running backs that have some knocks against them. In CMC's case, it's his workload last year and his age. In Taylor's case, it's workload, age, and also Daniel Jones and the health factors that are there. That's why I have CMC a little bit above Taylor right now, is because I look at CMC in an ideal case as being basically situation proof, whereas Taylor seemed to decline when the situation declined in Indy last year. But yeah, I look at them as their own kind of little mini tier. These are my towards the end of the first round should be going by running backs with league winning upside. These are running backs that if I am sitting somewhere in the realm of like 6th to 10th in the draft and I'm getting one of these guys falling to me there, I'm very happy to take a shot on them. And if it works out, they could win a year league. That's kind of why I'm putting them in their own little kind of micro bracket. And then I have some of the guys that you were mentioning there and a few others in kind of the next tier as guys that I'm happy with being my first overall running back that I get maybe at the end of the first round / start of the second round.
Okay. Well, okay, so you don't have James Cook or Chase Brown in this tier. So what
No,
is keep? I mean, yeah, you have Brown ranked down a little bit further. So,
I do.
like,
That's because I hate his stupid face.
well,
But
let me ask you, like, what's keeping James Cook and Chase Brown out of this next tier here?
I think for both of them and the other guys that I have in that next tier too, which I'll reveal, I have Ashton Gente and Marion Hampton as kind of also in that conversation. Um, they're very good running backs. I like them a lot. Like them again enough to be taken trail end of the first round or start of the second round and be a number one guy on your team. I just don't think that they are as league bustingly potentially good as CMC or Jonathan Taylor. It's just they don't quite have as high of a ceiling. Like we've seen what Taylor can do, we've seen what CMC can do. There's just that much of an extra level that they've proven they can get to, those two guys, that I haven't seen from any of these guys yet. I think some of these guys are ones that maybe have a safer floor as well than CMC or Taylor, to be fair. I think maybe if you're picking Cook and you're looking for somebody who's going to be reliable for you, that might be a better pick, honestly. CMC could blow up this year. He could get injured and be an absolute dud. but he could also win you your league, right? So that's kind of the difference that I look at there.
I think, yeah, James Cook especially, he has never really developed into the pass catching back that a lot of people expected him to become. And pass catching is such a big part of fantasy football when it comes to the running back position. It can be a differentiator. So I agree. Like I could see why he would fall out of the second tier into a third tier. Just like he led the league in rushing, and he was the RB 6 or 7 last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that entirely. Um, so Chase Brown, funny enough, I have him in this second tier as my RB 6, and he ended up falling into the third round of our dynasty startup draft, which is insane to me. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think people continue to discount him as, hey, he was a fourth or fifth round pick back in his draft year, and they keep like there's always talk about the Bengals trying to replace him. Oh, watch out for the draft, watch out for the draft. And lo and behold, yet again, the Bengals don't truly replace him.
Yeah.
It's really Chase Brown, Samaje Perine, and then Taj Brooks, who was a 6 round pick 2 years ago, I think. So, man, it's I know you for whatever reason you don't like Chase Brown's face, but I'm telling you, this guy, he runs hard. He's a pass catcher. He's not the most elusive, but if he has any space, he makes the most of it. So I'm
It's because as a Jamar Chase owner for a long time, anytime somebody other than Jamar Chase scored on the Bengals, I was very upset by it.
he's just poaching. I got it.
Yeah, exactly. How dare he? Um,
Talk to me about Genty though. Like, why do you have Genty up in?
so I like Genty in this tier. There's a few things that I like about him. Um, I like the situation that he's going into a little bit better now this year. Things have improved around him, and he's still got a lot in the tank. He's a young player. We've seen, kind of in flashes what he's capable of in terms of the talent. And I think just with the situation around him, it was an underperforming year last year, and this year they've done an amount to improve that. So yeah, I'm betting on talent here with this player. And again, I like a lot of the things that the Raiders have done, and so I think that that's going to help float him up. So I'm betting on the talent and seeing that kind of coming through here now in year two.
Okay, yeah. Forgive me. I should have hit a bit of a reset here because now we're going into your third tier. So you had Bijan and Gibbs as your first tier. You had CMC and Jonathan Taylor as your second tier. Why don't you break down your third tier, and that way
Yeah.
we can kind of blend our third tiers together.
Yeah, for sure. So my third tier, I have James Cook, who we've already talked about, Ashton Gente as my number 6. Number 7 is Omarion Hampton, and then number 8 is Chase Brown. And yeah, so the reason I have these guys kind of all clumped together is these are players that I'm looking to get kind of around the turn, right? If you're in a 12 team league, these are players that you're going to be looking to get somewhere between like 11 and, maybe 16 overall, kind of
Yeah,
in that range as you're coming around the horn, right? And yeah, would be happy with any of these even Chase Brown would be happy with any of these being my first running back on my team. So
yeah, good. So yeah, so to just quickly recap, my second tier: Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, James Cook, Chase Brown. And then we have some overlap here. So I called my third tier these players my home run swings. These guys are all projection. Like we haven't seen it yet, other than Devon Achan, but we have. He's a special scenario and special
yeah,
situation, but these are players that are home run swings. So for me, I have my RB 7 as Amarian Hampton. I have Devon Achan at number 8. I have Kenneth Walker at 9, Jeremiah Love at 10, Ashton Genty at 11. These are my home run swings. And like I said, most of these guys, we have not seen it yet. We've seen the flashes, which gets us excited. we've had situational changes for all these guys. So Amarian Hampton gets the upgrade at offensive coordinator plus offensive line upgrades. We're looking at a player who was drafted in the first round who just oozes talent. Like I think behind an improved offensive line, as long as I hate the caveat. Anytime I say if everyone stays healthy, just tell me to drink, okay, Bobby? Because I hate that
Yeah.
I hate that caveat so much. Um,
It's kind of like it goes without saying, right? Yeah.
exactly, and
Yeah.
it shouldn't have to be said. But Amari and Hampton behind this better offensive line with a scheme that actually helps the offensive line, I think this is going to be a huge season for this guy. Unless it doesn't. Like
Mhm.
there's enough tape I've seen as well where he's having a hard time finding the gap. He's having a hard time um, getting to the edge. Like there are some hangups on film when it comes to Amari and Hampton. When he gets space, he's deadly, but I don't know if he has the creativity of like the Bijan Robinson, Jameer Gibbs. Nobody does. That's why they're the top tier. But
Mhm.
I think with the improved situation, offensive coordinator, genius, quote unquote genius there in Los Angeles, I think Amari Hampton could perform, and he might be a top 5 pick next year. But there's still some hangups on the offensive line. There's enough little things on film that I look at. I'm like, he didn't really see that all that well. So that's why I kind of put him in the middle ground here, and I say you're going to be the top of my next tier. You have him in this kind of third tier as well. So I'll kick it
Yeah,
over to
we
you.
have them at the exact same ranking actually,
Yeah,
which is interesting. We just have different people around him. Yeah, I see what you're saying there. I think for me, the reason why I'm happy considering him, part of this end of first round, start of second round here that I have here, is just the situation around him, right? The player himself, agnostic. I love that offensive coordinator. We saw what he could do with Achan. I think that it's going to do some really good things in that system, and I think that Hampton's going to benefit from that, regardless of Hampton himself. I think he's going to be floated by that, that tide that is coming in there. So that's one where, yeah, I really love the situation, and that is what gives me confidence in picking him in that spot.
yeah. I got really excited in our dynasty startup when it was coming around to the back end of that second round, and I think he got taken 2 picks before mine. I was like,
Yeah,
that's the perfect spot for him though.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's if he's your second pick, it makes all the sense in the world as a home run swing.
Hmm.
And again, like a lot of things have to click within a single off season for this to absolutely hit. But if it hits, it's
Hmm.
to the moon.
Yeah,
Um, at number 8, I have Devon Achan, and you put Chase Brown down at number 8, which we've already
yeah.
talked about. But let me ask you why you have Achan lower. You're an Achan truther, I thought.
Well, not really. I'm more of a McDaniel's truther. Um, I do like the player, but he was such a it was like a piece fitting in a hole situation there with him in that offense in Miami than the way that they ran it, right? Um, McDaniels drafted him, put him into a particular role, and he excelled in that role. And now McDaniels isn't there. We have an entirely different situation. There's not really much to describe as a team around him at all, anyway, right? So how is he going to do in that environment, right, where everything's changed? And if you're scheming for, if you're a defense coming into Miami and you're trying to break things down about how you're going to succeed,
Who do we
whose
need to
number
stop?
is circling on the board, right?
Who do we need to
Exactly.
stop?
We need to stop that guy there, right? So I still think that like I still have him as number 10 on my list. He's in the top end of my late second round running backs, maybe even into third round running backs. Um, and I would again be happy to have him. Let's say I go or wide receiver quarterback or something along those lines, and he ends up being, a later first running back onto my team, happy with it, happy to take that swing because the upside is there, right? We know the talent, we know how fast he is. He is a bolt of lightning when he gets going.
He is very
Uh,
fast.
but yeah, I think, and we've talked about this before too. The production in terms of touchdowns, I think, is going to be a real hurdle for him this year. And unless he busts loose for a 30 or 40-yard run, I don't know that he's going to be finding the end zone very often this year.
Yeah,
So,
okay. They paid the man, which is a good
mhm,
sign.
mhm.
So I think regardless of the situation, he will be peppered with volume, both rushing and passing. I imagine with that receiver core that they have.
Oh yeah, for
So
sure.
so he'll be integral to the offense. Um,
Mhm,
we've talked about this before in terms of a rushing quarterback not checking the ball down all that often compared to the Tuas of the league. So yeah, he's a hard nut to crack, but I think he belongs in this. For me, I call this my home run swings. If you're getting Devon Achan at this range, and I consider that a value because he's been a top 5 running back the last couple seasons as far as I'm concerned. And if you're getting him at this kind of discount and it hits, like there's a percentage chance that it hits. Now we're talking about a league winner. That's a home
mhm.
run. That's why
Yep.
he's in that home run swing for me.
Mhm,
Um, for me, I got Kenneth Walker at my 9 spot here, and it's the same thing. It's the same kind of conversation we can have with all these guys, as far as I'm
mhm,
concerned. It's like, all right, he went from a committee backfield in Seattle to being one of the fifth or sixth highest paid running back on an annual average with the Chiefs. Obviously brought in to fix a problem that the Chiefs have, which is, hey, we're we're top 5 in success rate for our runs, but we're literally the goddamn worst at explosive runs in the league.
mhm,
So what do? You bring in the explosive guy. The interior of the offensive line has been a strength for this Kansas City Chiefs team for a long time.
mhm.
Now they have a player who can actually make use of that, I think. And I think
Yep.
Kenneth Walker is finally going to get the workload that he's been asking for in Seattle for years.
Yeah.
And he's finally going to be able to see this breakout potentially.
Potentially, yeah, and that's why I have him in this tier, like my kind of final tier as well. We just haven't seen it yet, right?
That's it.
But if you're taking a shot, it's a great shot to be taking, right? So yeah, I like him. I like the situation. It's just there's too much uncertainty, too much things that we haven't seen yet for me to put him above these other guys. That's why I have him. I have him at 11 on my list. So
Yeah. No, I agree. Like it's been injury or it's been lack of opportunity between him and Charbonnet splitting time. Like him and Charbonnet, I forget what the stat was. Like they finished as like RB 21 and 22, something like that.
yeah,
And they were both like they were a half point away from each other in terms of fantasy football production.
two-headed monster, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
hate it because all you do
Mhm.
is you watch Charbonnet run in 12 touchdowns, and you're just like, I took Kenneth Walker to be this guy who's going to score all those touchdowns. Why do they keep putting Charbonnet in? Um, it's so that's why I think Kenneth Walker belongs in this home run
Yeah.
tier. He could
My
yeah.
my caveat to this, and we've seen this before, I'm thinking of Tony Pollard here as an example in my head, as a guy who was really good in a committee situation, or maybe sometimes even as the lead in the committee situation. But then when traded, when put into a new team, just never really was as good as he was
Right.
in a more sheltered role, right? So, again, different player, different talent level. I certainly like Kenneth Walker, the talent, more than I ever liked Tony Pollard, the talent. So we'll see in this new situation, but there is some things to be potentially a little bit cautious of. So
Yeah, I think the other thing to think of too, when it comes to Kenneth Walker is, especially with Pat Mahomes coming off this ACL, probably not rushing like he did last year. Is there going to be a pass catching ceiling for Kenneth Walker as well? Because
mhm.
we could put this ball in the air to this guy, and let him go to work. Like there is a world where
Hmm.
that happens too. If he catches anywhere between 45 to 55 balls, that's already probably double what he's ever done in Seattle. So
Yeah.
uh, I think that's something to keep in mind as well when it comes to this player.
Hmm.
Very high on where he's going in drafts, so had to keep him inside the top 10.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so this is fun now. Okay, so
Yeah. We're getting into some interesting conversations here these next couple.
yeah, this tail end of the top 12 is going to be where the fun is.
Hmm.
So I have Jeremiah Love at number 10. You
Yeah.
don't have him in your top 12.
I do not have him in my top 12. I think if I was to continue my list, he would probably be somewhere in the next two or three picks for me.
Okay.
I would have him in my top 15 for sure, I think. But why is he top 10 for you? Why do you have him there?
Okay. So, I mean, historically speaking, running backs taken in the top 10 generally, whether it's by what's the saying? Whether it's by crook or damn it, there's a saying. I can't think of it
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
But by some way, these running backs that are taken in the top 10 of NFL drafts tend to see just so much volume that they make their way into the top 12. And I don't care about these non-padded practices videos that are coming out, and there's not a gap to be seen between the offensive line trying to make space for this guy or not. Um, he is going to be a dynamic player in this league for a long time. I do believe that,
Hmm.
and I think that especially with Jacoby Brissett behind center, there's going to be a passing ceiling for this player as well. You just have to hope that the new system coming in is it it's a LaFleur, right? Like is it another Green Bay guy that's coaching down there? No. Oh my gosh, is it? Yes, I think it is. So it's not Matt LaFleur. I think it's Mike LaFleur is the coach down there now. So if he's taking anything
It is
from,
Mike, yes. I
yeah,
was wanting to make sure we got that right. It is Mike LaFleur, yes.
appreciate it. And I think that if you have influence from your brother who loves to run the ball, and you have influence from Sean McVay, I think he was on Sean McVay's staff last year. I think that there will be enough creativity and enough balance for there to be able to be efficiency in the run game over the season. Maybe not on a game per game, maybe not on a game per game basis, but the guy's a good player. He
Yep.
is very good, and I think that um, it's funny. Like I everything's cyclical. I feel like I I was not that high on Jeremiah Love going into the college season last year. And then he did what he did. I'm like, you know what? He's still not Bijan. Let's not pretend like he's Bijan. But then NFL media gets involved. They start hyping him up. He goes and runs in the
Yeah.
four. He runs in the 4.3s at the combine. Didn't have to run. He ran anyway. And just I was like, okay, well, I thought he was going in the teens. Now he's going in top 10. He goes number 3, and I think like just the commitment that's going to like well, I hate to bring it up, but it is important to bring up. Like as a top 3 pick, that makes him already like the is it not the maybe not the first, maybe the second highest paid or third highest paid running back in the league right now, like on an annual basis. So like they have to justify it, and I think they're going to scheme a lot of the offense around him.
Yeah, certainly. I don't know. My big hang up on him is just the team that he plays for and how bad they're going to be. Because I think this team is going to be atrocious this year, and I think
Hard to
that's going to be
schedule.
a big detriment to him. Yeah, schedule too, right? We talked about it a little bit with Achan, right? You know, you're going into Arizona. Who are you thinking about shutting down? Well, Love's going to be pretty high on that list, right? Well, we'll see what Marvin Harrison is able to do this year. But um, I think the other thing too is again, just with a rookie as well, we haven't seen it at this level yet. And so there's that also that question mark of, what is it going to actually look like when he gets out there and is seeing the real NFL, right? So those two things are the things that keep him out of my top 12. Again,
You're
I would
you're
probably be looking at him in these next couple of picks here, but
you're probably being wise here, but were you saying or asking the same questions when Saquon came out and got taken number 2 overall?
um, I mean, I wasn't playing fantasy football that year, so I didn't have to think about that hard.
All right.
But I mean, probably you should be, right? And again, this is why, this is the kind of running back that you like to get if it's your second running back, you're in a great spot, right? If you've got
Yeah.
one of these other guys that we've mentioned here, and then you're able to get Jeremiah Love as your RB2, you're smiling. Or if you, again, if you go wide receiver heavy, or maybe you pick up a couple of those, premier one of positions, in lieu of a running back over the first couple rounds, then a pick like Jeremiah Love can make a lot of sense for you because of the upside potential, right?
Yep.
It could be, okay, we take a guy in the fourth round or third round or whatever, third round, and he ends up performing like, a Bijan or a Gibbs. It's taken the first round, right? So those are the X factors that can make a difference for you.
Yeah, I agree. If he's my second running back, I'm to the moon. I just don't
Mhm.
know how often that's going to happen in drafts this year, my man.
Yeah,
I think
and that's the big risk, right? And that's why I'm probably not taking him, right? That's the thing, right?
people get so horny for rookie running backs.
hmm I
It's
think, I think in a lot of drafts, you're probably going to see him go maybe even in the first round because people are going to be horny for these rookie running back again, right? People are going to be thinking, "Oh, I have the smarts, I have the knowledge. I'm going to take this rookie who no one's heard of," right? And I think that's a mistake. If you're taking him that high, I think that there are safer options that you can go with. But that's just me. It could work out, right? He could be the first RB1 just the way Saquon was in his first year, right? We don't know.
yeah, crazier things have happened.
Mhm.
Um, okay, so I've got okay, so let's just talk about 11 and 12 here together because I have Ashton Genty as my last home run swing tier,
Mhm.
and then I have Saquon Barkley the start of my um, what would I call it? High floor tier, I guess.
Mhm.
Like
Okay.
after Genty, I have Saquon Barkley 11 and 12, and then this is like after Saquon, I would have my Josh Jacobs. I would have my who else do we have here? I would have my
Derrick
Derrick
Henry.
Henrys.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like
Brees
those,
Hall. Yeah.
yeah, those guys, like the high floor
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
So I have Ashton Genty as my 11th ranked running back. You had him up all the way at
I am
6.
sixth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess I'll just start with my reasons for keeping him a little bit lower, and that's I think the play caller upgrade is huge. I think the quarterback play upgrade is huge. I'm worried about the supporting cast around them. Brock Bowers is obviously great, but the receiver group is not good. And I applaud them for bringing in Tyler Linderbaum at center. That's a
hmm
great upgrade.
Yep.
And you're just kind of counting on players on the offensive line that you've drafted highly to develop, and they haven't shown it yet. Like Colton Miller coming back healthy, huge. Jackson Powers Johnson, no. Yes, I think he's on the Raiders. He has yet to really show his upside as a high second round pick. So I think there's still holes enough in this offense that it could potentially limit Genty. I think we saw what he's capable of last year in terms of getting him in space. If he gets a sliver of space in the run game,
hmm
he is generating yards after contact. Like I've seen
hmm
that. It's great. That's why you drafted him. You need to start creating some space for this guy. So I guess I'm still worried about this offensive line. Kirk Cousins in year 38 or 39, whatever, however old he is. Um, that does not inspire me. And then Fernando Mendoza being like the news coming out that we're happy to sit him for a year. I don't think that's going to happen,
No, it's not.
but like still it's still a rookie quarterback and not like he was kind of like the quarterback one by default in a year where no quarterbacks really declared. That doesn't boost me with confidence as much as I do like Fernando Mendoza. So I have a lot of questions about as exciting as it is to like this nerdy quarterback and how great it is they brought in this really smart, really athletic center. I don't think that's enough, and I'm happy the Raiders are trending in the right direction. It's but to your point, like we had this conversation um about whom Devon Achan. If it's just Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers, I in a tough division, like these
Mm-hmm.
defenses in the AFC
Yeah,
West are not a joke. I think it's gonna be tough. It'll be tough sledding. That's my
that's fair.
counterpoint to Ashton Genty.
Yeah, that's fair. Those are all fair criticisms. Yeah, I guess the reason I'm high on him is because of, again, just the player that he is and how he produced last year. He finished last year as, let's see here, RB11,
Yeah.
I have it down as. And that was in the much worse situation that we saw last year, right? So I think things are better for him this year. He's another year more experienced into the league as well. I think we see improvement from that 11, and that's why I have him up in that, you know, kind of safe bet at the end of the first round range. So,
Yeah, when you look at his stat sheet over the course of the previous season, it was really week 4 against Chicago where he put up 34. It was week 12 against Cleveland where he put up 24 and week 16 where he put up 31.
mhm.
Otherwise, you were not thrilled with
No,
having him as
that's
your
true.
RB1.
There were some dud weeks, and that is a thing to be potentially cautious of as
Yeah.
well. Is that there could be some duds. Again, the hope is that those kind of explosive weeks continue to be there, and the dud weeks get mellowed out by 24 in Cleveland. Like that's perfectly good. That's what you want to see,
Oh,
right?
against Cleveland, that's
So
fantastic. Yeah.
no, no.
I
So
I agree. Like if he can raise his floor, like if those floor weeks get raised by 2 or 3 points on a weekly basis,
mhm.
now we're cooking. Now we're talking about
Yeah.
a top 5 back.
Yeah.
So,
And I think that is my other thing with him and why I have him ranked as highly as I do, is I think the pure talent level is there
yeah.
for him to be that level of back. If Ashton Gente was in a prime situation, he is the type of running back that we're talking about in the same caliber as Bijan and Gibbs and
Yep.
CMC and those guys, right? So the talent is certainly there. Yeah, we'll see what the situation allows him to show.
Fingers crossed for the man cuz oh man, just to see at least once a week a breakaway run from that guy, like
Oh,
back to his college days, like that would do wonders for the NFL ratings.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and so I'll round out my number 12 spot with Saquon Barkley, and
Mhm.
obviously in love with the talent in the player. I think the tread on the tire has gotten down to dangerous levels, and that's why I have him at number 12. I think the offensive line being healthy this year will be a help, but
Mhm.
we don't know what this offense scheme is going to look like. They lose their all-world offensive line coach in Jeff Stoutland. Apparently, he was like master of the universe when it came to the run game, and we saw that 2 seasons ago with Saquon literally took off. Um, so I think there could be enough, not tension, but there could be enough dissent amongst the ranks where we're just not going to see that ceiling. But I do believe the floor is still there with Saquon.
Yeah, I have him a little bit higher. I have him as number 9, just because of how safe I feel in that floor. And I feel like that there is still an amount of potential too. Like, I would not be surprised if things click in just a little bit better in Philadelphia this year. Some of the changes turn out to be positive ones. Um, he definitely got worn down by that year where he went off for so much volume, right? And so, maybe another year removed from that, there's a little bit more giddy up there as well. This year, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I will say one thing about the tread on the tires with him that is kind of a little bit weird. Uh, It's weird to say it this way, but he was injured so much for a couple seasons there that he actually has less career volume than you might think that
That's fair.
a player of his age would have. Because yeah, there was a couple years where he just didn't really play in New York, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see what he's able to do this year, but I think again it's a very safe floor, as you said, and I maybe I'm valuing that a little bit more highly, is why I
Yeah.
have him a little higher.
That's totally fair. And if Jalen Hurts is able to evolve his game around a more middle of the field passing concepts and all that kind of stuff, like Saquon Barkley can work the middle of the field too. You get him on some choice routes, you get him on some angle routes, like he can definitely do that as well. And then I do think just like if the line can stay healthy, like Lane Johnson has already come out and said that this is probably going to be his last season. Their center and their guard have like they both missed a lot of time last season. If they can stay healthy, then I think they're back to cooking with gasoline when it comes to the run game. But that was with Jeff Stoutland 2 years ago, and Jeff
Mhm.
Stoutland was so fed up with Nick Sirianni, he just decided to quit on the team. So the Philadelphia Eagles continue to be this absolute um, anomaly of a team where they are just riddled with talent. And if they could just all come together,
Yeah, exactly. If it could
they
coalesce, yeah.
they could be winning multiple Super Bowls, but they all just hate each other too much. So I don't
Well,
know.
I mean, maybe it comes from the city.
There's definitely that aspect too.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So that's it. So Bobby, why don't you break down your top 12? I'll give out mine, and then we can
Well, I
wrap
was
this
going to
thing
say I
up.
have one last player here
Oh,
that's on my
please.
list that's
Oh,
not on yours
how very
that I
rude of
think
mine.
is
Very rude of
worth
me.
worth talking about. I have Josh Jacobs as my last pick here at number 12. Um, I think this is for me. Maybe I'm valuing floor a little bit here as well. But it could also be my bias as a Packers fan coming through here. I think he's in a really good situation for this year. I think he's probably going to be coming in feeling fairly healthy, all things considered. He was RB5 in point per game before he got injured last year as well. Um, so that's something that's worth considering as well, is that should he be healthy, the production was really, really high last year. And I think this year the situation has shifted in that like there's nobody else in that backfield who's going to be taking touches away from him. There is a lot less competition on that team than there was before as well. They've kind of cleared house a little bit and said, these are our guys and we're going to use them. So I think that sets him up in a good situation this year to potentially go off and outperform where his draft capital is going to land him. So that's kind of why I'm high on him. There are definitely some negatives. He's older. He's been run hard over his career. There's an off the field situation too. I try to ignore those things, but it is something to be cognizant of. We'll see, but I am certainly high on the potential for Josh Jacobs to have a really good year this year.
He's on a team that loves to run the ball. Like Matt,
Yeah.
like I forget who it was that said this. I think it was the Ringer Football guys, but they're like Matt LaFleur and Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay and who's the other one from that tree? At least those three guys. It's almost like a friendly competition to see who can run the ball better.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, Kyle Shanahan is still sticking with wide zone. Sean McVay's gone over to duo. Oh, Matt LaFleur's working on like all these different gap schemes, and like it's
Mhm.
very interesting to watch. And they like Matt LaFleur takes it as a point of pride, I think, when it comes to running, be able to successfully run the ball. So they've been,
And we run the ball with everybody. Like frickin' Christian Watson is gonna
yeah,
is gonna get handoffs this year, right? So yeah, I and that bodes well for him too in terms of getting goal line looks, being able to rumble in for some touchdowns. Yeah, if you're on FanDuel, betting for a Josh Jacobs rushing touchdown is a pretty safe bet on a week to week basis. It's going to hit more often than not, right?
Yeah, and
So,
he's getting discounted because of this off-field stuff too. So
mhm.
that's definitely a player to keep an eye on um, going into drafts these next couple of weeks. Amazing, dude. Great debate, great
Mhm.
conversation around these running backs. Just for everyone to know, the next week we're going to talk about the top 12 wide receivers, and then that's it for our rankings going into the 2026 season. We're
Mhm.
going to have a really fun episode after that where we are going to do. Is it? It's going to be. You know what? That's fine. I think the Hall of Fame game is next week, so we're going to do our wide receivers before the Hall of Fame game. But then after the Hall of Fame game, we're going to have a Hall of Fame fantasy episode.
Yeah.
So Bobby and I are going to sit down and put our first class of fantasy football Hall of Famers into the Hall for the last call fantasy football team. And that's going to be a really fun episode. So
Yeah.
stay tuned for
We
all that, everybody.
we were debating this over pints when I was down visiting Paul in Mississauga there last weekend,
Yes,
and
sir.
I am already excited for this episode. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's in 2 weeks' time. We'll rank wide receivers first, and then we'll get to that.
it's going to be a lot of fun. And all I'll say, everybody, is once we're through this off season and we're into the actual season, we're going to get back to what I want this podcast to be all about. Like Bobby and I, with our coaching background, with our knowledge and love of the game, we're going to actually sit down and start being more detailed in terms of what we're looking for across the NFL and these teams, what trends we're trying to spot and we're trying to figure out on a more detailed level. That's really what we want this channel to be about. So once football is actually being played, that's where you really want to tune in and see where we're going with this channel. So if you haven't done so already, like and subscribe, you bunch of bums. We're in for a long term here, and we are having a lot of fun doing so. That's going to do it for us, though, tonight. And Bobby, thank you once again as always, for taking some time. Um, enjoy the August long weekend. Do you have anything going on?
Nothing too crazy. Some family stuff, and then we're actually going to be pushing off to a little bit of a vacation the week after, heading to Quebec City for a few days. So excited for that. That'll be good. Good way to
Amazing, man.
start August.
Amazing. And we're going to be up at the cottage for about a week, which will be a good time as well. We'll find
Mhm.
some time to get that wide receiver episode out. And
Absolutely.
man, we're so close. Basically 1 week away from a Hall of Fame game.
Yeah.
So football's just around the corner, everybody. Stay safe. Thank you for watching. We'll see you all next week. Peace.